this will be the base of the heart. Okay, again, apex of the heart, base of the heart. Right? Pretty simple. All right, now the next thing I like to talk about, or I like to figure out, is what surrounds the heart typically. Anybody? What surrounds the heart typically? Pericardial sac. Inside the pericardial sac, we have what type of fluid? Anybody? Spring break fluid? Oh no, serous fluid, okay, or serous fluid, all right? Basically, in the sac, it creates a frictionless environment for which the heart can beat, okay? Everybody hear me? Miss Mary? Hey Mary, would you flip off the fan for me real quickly? Let's just pull it to the middle. Oh. Perfect, thank you. All right, can you hear me better now? Okay, testing. All right, so what it has the pericardial sac surrounding it with the serous fluid, and so that can be in a frictionless environment. So on this heart right here, everybody see this little flap? That's the leftover portion of the pericardial sac. All right, everybody see it? Excellent. All right, now just like in the brains, that we have pia mater that surrounds the hot portion of the cortex, but you can't really take it off. You know, it just makes it kind of shiny. We also have epicardium here surrounding the top portion of the heart. That's what makes it kind of shiny once it's wet, like down in here. All right, so all this is epicardium, which means on top of the heart. All right, now I'm going to flip open the heart on the inside, and we have all this muscle here. What is all the muscle called? Prefix for muscle is myo, so it's myocardium. Excellent. Okay, so we have epicardium and myocardium. This is all made up of cardiac muscle, right? Because it's in the heart. Okay, so we have our cardiac muscle in the myocardium. Now, on the inside, all this shining stuff on the inside, what is that going to be called? Inside? Endocardium. Okay, so we have epi on top of, endo inside, and myo muscle. Okay, myocardium. Excellent. All right, next thing I like to do when I pick up the heart is actually know which side is anterior and which side is posterior. Okay, so the anterior portion, I always like to find the pulmonary trunk here. And I know that's going to face anteriorly. Alrighty? Again, on this one, find the pulmonary trunk here. It's kind of split up in this one. Alright? And this is going to be a nice, thick-walled, almost looking like an artery. Alright? Because it branches out into the pulmonary arteries. Alright? So, if I looked on the back side, you guys see how there's not really a nice defined pulmonary trunk here? Okay? It's not really nothing. It's just kind of messy looking. Alright, I know that's going to be the posterior surface of this. Okay. Oh, so you can move the trunk, please. Thank you. Alright. Can't stand on this hand, sorry. Alright. Here we go. Now, same way on this heart. You see how this is kind of messy looking on the back? Do you guys see a trunk anywhere? Anything that looks like a nice thick artery that's going across it? No. So you know this is the posterior surface of the heart. Alright? So always find the pulmonary trunk and then visualize it like this in your body. Okay? It's anterior. Alright? Now our hearts are kind of skewed a little bit left, right? And the apex is actually right up underneath your left breast. That's why the doctor always has the stethoscope. They always smush it right up underneath your left breast. It's because they're feeling for the apex beating against the side of the thorax. Right? I think it's kind of cool. Okay, anyways. So on the anterior surface of the heart, we have this groove right here. Everybody see it? All right, this is called the interventricular groove. All right, inter means what? Between ventricular means ventricle. Okay, so it means between the ventricles. Everybody wait. Is this mic on? Okay. So that's mirrored on the inside of the heart here by the interventricular septum. All right, so you have the interventricular groove, the interventricular septum. So if I put a marker here on the test, the best way to get all the points would be the myocardium of the interventricular septum. Okay, so it means it's between the ventricles. All right, next thing that I like to do, I found the anterior and posterior surfaces of the heart. I also like to figure out what's left and right side of the heart. Okay, so when you open up a heart like this, ignore one side, okay, and just look at one of the halves, right? And always know that the myocardium on the left side of the heart is going to be much, much thicker than the myocardium on the right side of the heart, okay? So I know that this whole side is left and this whole side is right. Did we get that? Okay. So again, open up the heart. What side is this? Left. This is left because it's much thicker here than it is right here. So this is the left side of the heart. This is the right side of the heart. Now the left side of the heart, it has to pump blood up through the aorta and then out to the rest of the body. Where the right side of the heart, you're only pumping to the lungs and back. Okay, that's why it's much thicker. So much thicker side, we're on the left side. Okay, so we're on the left side, and we see this little flappy flap here. It's actually a valve. What valve is this on the left side of the heart? Ends in cuspid, bicuspid, or the mitral valve. Okay, so that's the bicuspid, and the reason it's called bi is that there's two flaps. All right, so if you actually look up inside the model, on this side you see two flaps up in there. That's for the bicuspid valve. Okay, so you have the bicuspid, and then attached to the bottom of the bicuspid valve are these strings. These are called chordae tendineae, and they literally mean heartstrings. Okay, so if somebody says they're tugging on your heartstrings, that's you have them, and they're there. Okay, those are then in themselves attached to papillary muscles at the base. Okay, so the muscles, the strings attached to the flaps of the valves is in order that blood flow in one direction and that these flaps will not prolapse into the atrium. Okay? So, everything to the base, superior or to the near the base of the heart is going to be the atria. Everything inferior of the valve and toward the apex of the heart is going to be the ventricles. Okay? So this up here is going to be what?
Atrium.
The left atrium. And this is going to be the
Left ventricle.
left ventricle. Excellent. Okay? Let's do it again on this side. Here. What side am I on?
Right.
What valve is this? Right side? It's the atrioventricular valve. That's good. But the more specific term for the right side is tricuspid. Everybody know that? Okay, we do now. All right. So up superior to that is going to be what?
Right atrium.
The right atrium. Atrium for singular, atria for plural. And then below it, it's going to be right ventricle. Excellent. Okay. So how I remember left and right is that B and L come together near the beginning of the alphabet, whereas R and T come together at the end of the alphabet. So bi, left, okay, right ventricle, or right flap is tricuspid. Okay, that's how I remember it. Alrighty. All right. So next valve that you need to know about is the pulmonary semilunar valve, and that's found in the pulmonary trunk. So I'm going to show you this first. So at the base of the pulmonary trunk, see that little flap in there? Everybody see it? That is the semilunar valve, the pulmonary semilunar valve. All right, I'm going to turn around for you guys. So, see this flap up in here? Everybody see that flap? Okay, that is the pulmonary semilunar valve. Okay? And it looks like this. This is actually the pulmonary trunk here in the aortic arch. If you would just pull that straight up towards you. Perfect. Okay, right here is the pulmonary semilunar valve, and it looks like there's three little pockets. What happens is that these pockets fill up with liquid, blood, right? And they expand, so it's just a little pocket, and it fills up with blood and expands, and those pockets kind of connect together and seal off the hole. Okay? So blood doesn't backflow. If there's no blood, they empty out. Okay? It's kind of neat. You can actually do this on a heart like this, and it doesn't require any impulses. It just does it automatically. It's a physical cutoff. Okay? Anybody else find that interesting? Maybe not? Okay. Excellent. All right. So, let's talk about bringing blood. All right. I have deoxygenated blood. I've used it all my cells and want to get it back to the heart. It has to come from the superior portion of my body and the inferior portion of my body. And that's going through what two things? Have you heard of superior vena cava, inferior vena cava? Okay, that's what these two are. This is the superior vena cava, this is the inferior vena cava. And actually, if I push my fingers down in here, they touch. Okay, so these are connected. Now, if I put my finger down the superior vena cava and I kind of feel around in this area underneath here, kind of feel what feels like an innie belly button, right? That is the coronary sinus, and it's actually bringing blood back from the heart. All right? So all those superior vena cava and inferior vena cava dump into right here. What is this? Where am I at? What side? Right or left?
Right.
Right. It's above the valve, so I'm in the
Atria.
right atrium. Very good. I'm in the right atrium. Then I go through the what valve? Tricuspid to the right ventricle. I contract. I go up through the pulmonary semilunar valve into the pulmonary trunk. Those divide up into the pulmonary arteries, where I'm going to where? It's all deoxygenated. Where am I going? Not to the heart. You're going away from the heart to the
Body.
lungs. Lungs. Very good. All right. So I get oxygenated in the lungs. I come back to the heart through pulmonary what? Veins or arteries? To the heart.
Veins.
Veins. Veins are always to the heart. All right. So that's what this is right here. You guys see this little hole right there? It's like a belly button. See that right there? Okay, that is one of the pulmonary veins that dump into where? What space is this right here?
The left atrium.
The left atrium. I go through what?
The bicuspid.
Bicuspid valve to the
Left ventricle.
left ventricle. Then the left ventricle contracts, the blood is pushed up through the aortic semilunar valve into the, if it's the aortic semilunar valve, aorta. Very good. All right, so it's the aorta. All right, so all you have to know, open the heart. What side is this?
Left.
What side is that?
Right.
So this has to be what?
Left ventricle.
Left ventricle. I have to come through to the middle of the heart through the aortic semilunar valve into the
Aorta.
aorta. Now, if you know all those three things right there, you can kind of figure out what everything else is. So always ground yourself, no matter if you're looking at this side or this side of the heart. Always ground yourself knowing what's left and what's right. Okay? Everybody good? That's all you have to know. Any other questions?